And away we go. It is the Nightcap, brought to you by Galactic Fried Chicken, right here on BearcatJournal.com. You know the drill. www.galacticfriedchicken.com. Download the app for Android, iPhone, everything Galactic. Go to the app. They will deliver right to your front door pretty much anywhere inside the 275 loop, or go down to Dayton, Kentucky, Wednesday through Sunday, lunch and dinner. Tell them to pump it up. You will save 15% off of your order of that so delicious Galactic goodness. All right, Aaron. This is your time to shine. This is what you love. It's the first Tuesday of the football season. Talking.
Before we get into that, I do want to send anybody who hasn't already caught it to our YouTube channel, which you should be there already if you're listening to this.
Subscribe. So you'll be up to date on everything that's happening because it's football season. And guess what? There's a lot of shit happening on the Bearcat Journal YouTube channel during football season.
We started a new show tonight. I get to host with an amazing co-host in the legend himself, George Vogel.
How happy are you to be working with George instead of me on Tuesday nights?
I mean, he's nicer to me so far, so there is that. But in any case, he came out of retirement for this.
He did.
A little bit of Michael Jordan.
Yeah, he's wearing 45 now, but it's okay. He's still
it's
good.
Fine. I mean, that makes me the Wizard.
How about him coming out in the '92 Final Four T-shirt amazing. And the UC hat?
That was amazing.
That's a guy that's been dying to be a UC fan for 43 years or whatever on air, and he couldn't do it because he had a real job and had to have journalistic integrity. And now
he gets to be a fanboy.
Now you know where George stands. It was a great first show, dude. Applause to you. Applause to George. Great first show. Everybody needs to go check it out. George in the Jungle is the working. That's the name of that one. So
that's
Taylor,
why I'm in my Bengals regalia.
Our girl Taylor crushed the art.
I was not expecting that. That was fantastic. Fantastic.
Somebody did say that the Aaron just needed to have a tinfoil hat instead of the regular hat. And
it needed longer hair, but
that was like 6 months ago, Aaron, instead of now, Aaron.
It's fine. It's well done, Taylor.
Yeah, well done. All right, we had Scott Satterfield.
Yes.
We had Jawan Briggs.
Yes.
We had Emory Jones. I don't know how far down the rabbit hole you went, but then Keegan also talked to Aaron Turner, and I talked to Lucandra at practice. But I'm guessing
you'll have to fill me in on that. I didn't go down that far down the rabbit hole. I watched everything
tonight.
I watched everything at 2 times speed, and I did play catch up. So first things first.
Yeah.
Scott Satterfield, I think, has really come into his own as far as I think his pressers have evolved already since he's gotten here. And I am to the point where I don't believe he's a bullshitter. I think that he was very honest about the depth or what he sounded like. He didn't sound confident right now in the depth. He sounded like he's liked what he's seen in the progression, but he doesn't like where the team is at currently with the depth. And I did not expect that. You know what he
sounded like? Us. He sounded like us.
I did not expect that in the very first presser as you're going into your first game. He sounded like he really wants some of these guys to earn the respect that he wants to give them in the pressers. But right now, I don't think he feels comfortable to do it. And I thought that was a breath of fresh air. There was no talk about living under rocks. There was no talk about defense from Scott Satterfield. Well, there was some, but
right. I know what you mean.
I'm getting some slight jabs in, and these are all in good fun.
Yeah,
all in good fun. But I was impressed with the way that I felt honestly talked about the depth, the 2s and 3s, where he doesn't quite think that it's where he wants it to be. And maybe I'm talking out of line, but did you expect that in the first presser?
Um, I don't ever know what to expect until we really start to get into these situations where we really get to ask him about game week.
Mhm.
Because it's the same thing I talk about. Like, okay, go out. Like the offense has,
Show me what you got.
yeah, the offense has been better than expected in camp, but let's see what you do on Saturdays.
Mhm.
So you don't know until you start asking them questions and they start answering them. But I like the honesty. I like but here's the thing, Aaron. Now let's see, when there are bumps in the road in the season, how honest the answers are. Because it's
Well,
easy to be honest when you're 0-0, right?
and you have EKU coming up as opposed
Right.
to
Pitt,
a Pitt. Right.
Oklahoma. Right. So
I'm
yeah,
just I just again
I
I
agree
just
with you. I'm just
okay.
saying, like, let's let it develop. Let's see where we go from here. But I thought he sounded like what we sound like, giving an honest assessment of what we're seeing. I don't think his answers were all that different than what we've been talking about here since the start of camp. Do you?
No, and I think that's why it was a breath of fresh air. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't coach speak, at least to me. I don't think when I think of coach speak, I don't think of a guy going out there and just saying we don't have the depth that I would like us to have. We
Right.
don't have the twos and threes quite where we want them to be. And I I just did not expect that. You expect a little bit of fluff,
Right.
and
Sure.
it wasn't that. He
He
followed
doesn't seem like a fluff guy. Like, I think even if you go back to the sit down that I had with him going into camp, I didn't think there was a lot of fluff there. Did you?
maybe this is because we've been spoiled by the fact that we have been so deep over the course of the last 3-4 seasons,
Sure.
but it's just different and it feels different, and I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
The second point he made was he was excited. The second point I have that he made was he's excited as he's ever been regarding a kickoff in a stadium that he's not coached in, and I don't know. Louisville's a little bit different than here, obviously.
I like Louisville Stadium. It's a good stadium. They've done a nice job
I've sat in
expanding
it.
the stadium.
I've sat through games there, hammered.
Yeah,
Um,
me too.
on
Well,
on more
not
on more
hammered.
than
I was working, but yeah, I've
on
sat through
on,
games there.
on more than one occasion, but um, I don't know. It's Nippert's a different feel, and I'm excited to see what they say after the first game. I'm excited to see what a sold out Nippert Stadium can do regarding a FCS team, and see
Correct.
what the energy level is, because I think the energy level against EKU is going to be a little bit different when you have the energy level against Miami,
Sure.
and then you follow it at night, mind you, and then you follow that up with Oklahoma. I think that those will be very different energy levels.
Sure. Sure. But I think he's pretty excited about, look, when you get here, everybody talks about how awesome Nippert is. And I
Yep.
like that he acknowledged, like, look, it's not the biggest stadium on the planet, but a lot of those stadiums are 100,000 seats and like the noise goes up into nowhere. And this is 40,000 seats and the noise is right here.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think he was
The
genuinely excited about, well, because I think if you go back to Appalachian State, it's a little different, but they have one of those authentic, like old school stadiums where the fans make a difference, even though it's not Ohio Stadium or the Big House or whatever.
yeah. The last note I had was, I guess, just what the offense was able to do from the beginning of camp against this defense
Yeah.
to what they were able to do at the end of camp versus this defense, and how it was, by his assessment, night and day different from where this offense came from to where they are now. And it sounded like, I don't feel like
Well,
he's, as any coach would be, I don't feel like he's satisfied with where it's at, but I think he's okay with where it's at currently.
I think I would give a bigger. I think he was talking about from the beginning of spring all the way through to the end of camp,
Okay.
which there was a like. Look, man, I know because of Kelly and everything that was happening, I wasn't there for every practice in the spring.
Hmm.
But I know when I was there was a lot of like, oh boy, I don't know about this. And
Well, and he even said like the offense was able to do some things on some plays against the defense now that they were not able to do.
right. And that's kind of what I was getting at. Like in the spring, look, I'm telling you, in the spring, there was a lot like this could be rough. This
we had those
really rough.
We had those both off air and on air conversations. Right. We weren't shy about it here.
And then you get to camp and it's like, okay, well, maybe they're not dominating the defense, but if they're dominating the defense, we have a whole other problem to talk about. Like, there's 11 new starters and they're kicking this defense's ass. Like, okay, we're going to be concerned. Yeah. But there were days where they were neck and neck. There were a lot of days where they were neck and neck. Would I give the advantage in camp to the defense? Yes. Would I say that the offense put up a heavyweight 15-round fight? I would also say yes.
9-8. 9-8.
10-9, it's 10-9, 10-9, 10-9. Right. There was the rain day was a 10-8 to the defense. And then there was a day that Emory just wasn't on. That probably was a 10-8 to the defense. But every other day was either 10-9 offense or 10-9 defense. So
I'm not a boxing guy. I'm sorry.
I know. But the boxing people understand what I'm saying.
Moving on to Juwan.
That's a grown-ass man.
My favorite.
In so many ways.
My favorite interview of the day.
Yeah.
Says that he's in the best shape of his life. His
whole
life.
For now, because he just had his third child.
He did, and I was going to get to that. Thanks for that came at the end.
Yeah, I know.
But he did have his third child 4 days ago. Happy 4th day alive day to you, young Zane, I believe was the name.
I love him. He's such a good human. Like he's such a he carries himself so well. Like that's a good dude.
I did not expect the because I think this is the last year he has eligibility. I did not expect the goodbye tour with Juwan Briggs to pull at my heartstrings the way that it already has.
Right.
But he says he's in the best shape of his life. He also spoke a little bit about the fact that not just a transition from last season as far as the defenses go, but a lot of translation in the way that what he did last season has translated into this season. Yeah. But then he went on to expound on the fact that this season he feels like is what he calls a dream defense because of how much freedom he has to move about, which he did not have. He used the term last season was football, and this season is football, and he just has a lot more freedom to kind of do his own thing.
Yeah. I'm excited for him. Like, I think he kind of, he was, remember, a lot of people forget when you talk about recruiting or whatever, Juwan Briggs was a top 75 recruit. Not like a...
Because he's a massive human.
Right. Like, he was an elite recruit. And he has been very good since he's been here, but I don't think he's really had that, like breakout that you would expect. I think playing next to Corleone, playing next to Phillips, I think he's going to be a monster this year.
I agree. Wholeheartedly. I agree.
Emory Jones, I don't think said a whole... your story. Okay.
I have one last thing. The humility he has about being a captain on this team, I think, spoke volumes about him and his character. And it wasn't just this is what I'm supposed to say. I got this award. all praise to God, et cetera, et cetera. You know,
Right.
the standard
Right.
award show. Thank you. This
Right.
was
Sure.
it means so much to me that the team believes in me, and that it just, again, going back to your first point, which is that this is a grown-ass man, like this shit means so much to him, and you can
Right.
hear it and you can feel it when he talks.
Right. I love him. He's such a good dude, such a good human. So he's what. Here's what I'd say: if you're a fan of college sports, Jawan Briggs is what you want representing your university.
He's what you want your kid to turn out to be.
Right. Yeah. For sure.
He's what you want your best friend to be. Like, he's all
And
of these things.
Somebody get this man a diaper sponsorship. Jesus Christ. Come on.
There is that.
50 diapers a day, he said he's going through?
I'm sure that's a slight exaggeration, but not by much.
It's not a major exaggeration.
Not by much. I get it.
I get it. Yeah, I was there. I've been there once before as well. Yeah. 3 kids, all between 2.5 and 4 days. That's a lot of diapers in the Briggs household.
So Emery was the third to go, and I thought it was a little interesting. A side note I had was, I don't know how comfortable he is up on a presser compared to in a scrum, because I feel like in a scrum he's far more outspoken.
Yeah,
and in a press conference type setting, he seemed, I don't want to say intimidated, but he was just shorter with his answers than I've grown accustomed to him being.
I think it's a little uncomfortable when you're up there that first time in front of, it's a different deal when you're in the media room and the lights are on you and there's like, you can't really see.
Even after the spring game, I feel like he was more outspoken though. And maybe it was because the adrenaline, but it seemed like he was just a little gun shy today. So.
I think it's a different, everything that you go through when you're going through these like different steps of like media, whatever. And I'm sure he's done it at Florida. He was a starter. Yeah. He's done it at Arizona State. He was a starter, but he doesn't really know us.
Yeah.
So he's not super comfortable with the people that are standing on the other side of the bright lights
yet.
And I think we'll get there. He's a smart dude.
He did mention it was his third time going through this. He also echoed Scott Satterfield saying that he's excited to see Nippert loud. He said that the guys have told him how loud the stadium gets, and he's just excited. He's practicing it enough times. He's just excited to see it full, to get the full experience, to see how loud
the kid has played in the swamp.
Which, again, that's another stadium that does go down.
Right.
Similar to Nippert. So,
and has one of the best traditions in college football with I don't back down going into the fourth quarter.
Yep.
So he knows what it's about.
He mentioned several times about how this season is about him wanting to have fun. Different than his mindset over the last several seasons. He wanted to get back to like backyard football where you're not thinking. He's like, I've thought about it and thought about it and thought about it every time I'm on the field, trying to make the right reads. He's like, and I do it every time. I don't want to think about it anymore. I just want to go out and have fun.
Right.
Which I thought was, again, we talk about Jawan Briggs being a grown-ass man. I think that's a very mature statement to make.
I want to have fun. I want to get back to having fun.
Maybe the biggest headline out of what he had to say today is the fact that he says that both he and his quarterback's coach, Pete Thomas, say that this is the best receiver room he's ever had.
It's great. It's so great. And so that just validates what we've been talking about when I've watched this receiver room. I've watched a lot of good receiver rooms. You know what I won't say? I won't say this receiver room is as good as Mikhail McKay, Johnny Holton, Chris Moore, Shaq Washington, and there's 2 more that are escaping my mind right now. I'm not going to say they're better than that.
Well, you can't yet. We haven't seen them yet.
But I'm saying in terms of talent, it is right up there with all the best groups that we've seen here in the 16 years that I've been doing this. And there's a lot. There's Marty Gilliard and Bones Barnett and DJ Moore.
It was more, wasn't it?
I'm tired. It's been a long ass day. But there's some that stand right up there with where this receiver group can get. But when you watch them in practice,
Alec Pierce, Trey Tucker,
Tyler Scott, but when you watch these guys in practice, you say these guys can go, man. They can go.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
One of the things that I had not considered was he was asked directly about Evan Prater, but he did mention the fact that he was one of the guys in the quarterback's room that welcomed him in and they discussed things. And I didn't even put it together. Like we all know that he came out of the quarterback room to be in the receiver room, but I did not actually in my head make that connection. And maybe I'm on an island here, but I did not actually make that connection
that they were in the same room. Like when they got here, Evan was a quarterback,
but that they developed that chemistry as friends there.
Right.
And then have it go to the receiver room. Like
that's why I asked the question.
In my head, these things are completely disconnected, and I'm an idiot, and that's fine. I'm okay admitting that. But
that's why it's my job to ask those questions, Aaron, to get you to expand your horizons.
And then I also thought it was interesting that he did mention that he has oftentimes stayed after practice to work with receivers to continue to build that chemistry. So
it was a good day. Good day one.
For everybody.
We're rolling down the tracks to Saturday. I'm excited. All right, that's the nightcap. We will see you tomorrow night for the BBP, and we'll continue to get the content ready as we go to the first week of the season. Thanks to Galactic Fried Chicken. This is the nightcap right here on BearcatJournal.com.
See ya!